Hey guys, today we have some dot eating games for you, none of which are a clone or a port of Pac-Man. One of them actually predates Pac-Man, but the rest of them were, I'm sure, influenced by Pac-Man, or most likely were. This, of course, is Doodlebug, a clone of Ladybug, as a lot of games did when if they were just going to be a dot eating game, why bother? So if they were going to, copy the dot eating to a maze part of Pac-Man, they tried to put their own spin on it. In this, in this case, the big spin is that you can move the gates to trap your enemies, keep them from coming after you. And of course, you can get special, or you can get an extra if you get all of the letters. And you have skulls there that you don't want to run into. A lot of fun, but of course not Pac-Man. And then we have Crystal Castles, a clone of Crystal Castles. They just misspell the word crystal. Obviously a maze game where you're eating pellets. This is, of course, 3D is the difference in this one. Something I never really played a lot, but you can definitely see where they were somewhat influenced by Pac-Man and put their own spin on it again. And then we have Rally, a clone of Crash, and also pretty much identical game of Dodge 'em. This is the game that preceded Pac-Man, so it can't be a copy or a derivative of Pac-Man. I seriously doubt that Pac-Man was a derivative of this game, but of course it is another of those games where you have a maze, in this case a racetrack, and eating up dots. You can only go one way, and you got an enemy coming towards you, so you jump lanes. A fun racing game, and also a fun dot eating game. And then we have Megabug by Steve York, built through Radio Shack. I don't have a source for it that I can refer back to, especially not since it was so many years ago that I heard it. But the story that I heard was that Tandy Radio Shack wanted a Pac-Man clone, and Steve didn't want to give them a Pac-Man clone, so this is what he gave them. Pac-Man on steroids with a huge maze, and of course a small window so you can see what's right next to you, and then you have to kind of follow on the big screen as well. I never was really good at this game, and when I first saw it, it was, I thought, well, it's not Pac-Man, and I wanted Pac-Man, so I didn't get it. But after I got it and saw what a good game it was in its own right, I was glad to have it. Played it a fair amount. I still don't play it as much as Pac-Man, but definitely another of the dot-easing maze games, and a very enjoyable one that has an obvious tie back to Pac-Man. And then we have Marty's Nightmare, a souvenir game for the 1990 Atlanta Cocoa Fest that Steve York wrote to test the market to see if there was still a viable market to support the development of games for the color computer. I don't think that he got what he hoped he might. I think he got maybe what he expected he would get, but he didn't necessarily get the market he hoped for, because I don't remember him developing any games after this. Initially, you could only get this game at the Cocoa Fest, but then later on, Steve struck a deal with Cocoa Pro to distribute the game, which I was really glad about because I really wanted to see what the game was like. But I just at the time couldn't justify taking the time off from work to go to the Cocoa Fest. So I've got this game, which is, quite obviously influenced by Pac-Man. You don't die in this game. You either complete the maze or you run out of time. You can either play it as a one-day game or as a 4-day seminar. Seminar, and in the 4-day seminar, you repeat it 4 times, and it gets more difficult each time. You can, if you run over a coffee cup, then you speed up and move much faster and save a bunch of time. If you run over a keyboard, then you're asked a hardware question, and you have to find the computer chip to answer it and get extra points for that. And if you run over a mouse, then you're asked a software question, and you have to find the floppy disk to answer it. But there's strategy involved there because while you're going from being asked the question to answering it, you're not clearing any of the maze. So do you go for the extra points, or do you save your time and just worry about clearing the screen? So as you'll see what happens here, sometimes you think you've got it lined up, but by the time you get to the hardware, or to get to the answer, your chip for the hardware or your floppy for the software have moved, so you have to find it again. So it's a fair amount of strategy there that adds to the fun of the game. It's a very fun addition and shows that there's a lot of different things you can add to the dot-eating maze games. And then we have apples. You've got a maze that you're collecting the apples. It's a big maze, but it isn't a constant stream of dots. You can blast the walls to get where you want to go, which is a big help because this game is mainly a timed game. You do have an enemy you have to avoid, and if the enemy gets you, the game's over. But you also have to get the game finished within a certain amount of time. So definitely not a clone of Pac-Man, but another maze game where you eat the objects. And then we have Pac-Man, a game written entirely in BASIC from Rainbow Magazine. I don't remember what issue. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have kept track of what all of the games that I had from Rainbow that I used, kept and played. I'd have kept track of what issue they were in, so I could refer back to them. But I didn't, so I don't know when it was. This game, you have to constantly be eating pellets to replenish your energy, and you need to get the solid pellets to get a big boost of energy. It's been a long time since I've played it, but if I remember correctly, if your enemy gets to those solid pellets before you do, they suck the energy out of them. Could be wrong with that, but and each time that each maze, each grid that you go to, your energy runs down even faster, which is where the difficulty ramps up. This game is a very active, fun game to play for a basic game. And, in some ways it's as basic a dot-eating game as you can get. But I played the heck out of this game. I've had commercial games that I haven't played as much as I have this one. So it shows you that there was, here we've got a lot of different dot eating maze style games that had probably some influence from Pac-Man, and showed that you could do a lot of other things to add to the basic premise of running around a maze and eating dots. And these, all of them added something to the mix, and they were all of them a lot of fun. I hope that you've enjoyed this walkthrough, and as always, more later.